Hello guys, this is Kelsey with For the Love of Fish blog. I'm doing this video to help my friend who is looking into getting a betta fish when she starts college soon. So I was showing her how I clean my tanks. So that's what I'm going to do. This tank right here is my little goldfish, my last remaining rescue. The others died of some disease that no one could figure out, which she's still battling, but she seems to be doing okay. So that's a 10-gallon tank with a comet goldfish in it. She will be upgraded to a 55-gallon quite soon, as soon as I can move out probably, because my parents won't let me set it up here. It's humongous. And then we got Parthenox over here in his 5.5-gallon tank. He's usually hanging out. There he is. He's a feisty guy. And then over on my desk, in a 2.5-gallon, is Alduin, who is a special needs betta. I believe he has equilibrium problems. He hasn't eaten since I've got him, which I can't even find him. He's hiding. I think he's... oh, there he is. He hasn't eaten since I got him, which was probably a month ago. I just ordered special food for him in hopes that he'll like it. And I got some garlic as well, which you can soak juice. You can soak fish food in garlic juice, natural garlic juice, and I guess it's like extremely tasty to them. So maybe he'll eat something. Otherwise he's doing alright. Alright, so he's in a little 2.5-gallon because the desk can't hold anything larger. Alright, so I'm going to put my camera on a tripod and begin my process of cleaning the tanks. I'm going to start with the goldfish tank. Alright, so starting with my goldfish, I use a 5-gallon bucket. And this, which my mom got for me for my birthday, one of the best tools I ever got. This is a gravel vacuum, which I actually use to suck up, not just use the vacuum, but I use it to suck up the water as well. Makes it a lot easier, rather than scooping it out with a cup or whatever. So, I just attach it like so, if the clip wanted to stay on. And with this, it's pretty easy. All you gotta do is just stick it in the tank and kind of do an awkward motion with it, and there we go. Now it's siphoned. So, I will put this thing. I'll show you what it's doing. Oh, there's a little row. She's missing her tail because of the disease that she had. Destroyed her entire back fin and a couple of her other fins as well, which they're starting to regrow. We're not exactly sure if her tail fin will grow back because it's down to the base now, but we'll keep hoping for her. So with the gravel vacuum, this is basically what it does. You stick it and see how it's sucking up all the crap but leaving the gravel. So you just kind of, when you want to clean your gravel, which you don't want to do very often because it's harboring the good bacteria, so when you are cleaning it, you just kind of stick it in random spots. And the fish are pretty good about not going near it. I think they're not really nervous of it. She doesn't seem to mind too much. So yeah. This is my little moss ball. Now with her, right now I am draining the tank twice a day. Not fully, about 50% twice a day. and I'm adding salt to it, aquarium salt, because of the parasites that she's fighting. She was just on like medicated food, and she hasn't been really picking at it. So that's actually another reason why I got the garlic today, was to soak her medicated food in some garlic juice to be appetizing for her. So yeah, it's about, you know, around, I usually drain it a little more than 50%. So kind of just let it till the bucket fills pretty much. But yeah, the gravel vacuum is definitely a cool thing. With the decor, like the log and the piece of coral thing and that thing there and the plants, you never want to take those out and clean them or scrub them down, because again, they harbor good bacteria that you don't want to get rid of, because it'll kill the nitrogen cycle in your tank, which is what this over here, this is what I'm trying to do. This tank, my goldfish tank, still hasn't been cycled yet because of all the water changes that I've had to do because of their issues. Which is why you don't want to do a fish in cycle. I had no choice because I needed to be put in a bigger tank than the little bowl that they came in right away. So with this here, the bucket, that is my goldfish's filter in a bucket of water with a couple drops of ammonia put in, pure ammonia. You can get pure ammonia, if you have to do this, you can get pure ammonia, which I have right here at any Ace Hardware. I looked around like Home Depot and Lowe's and all those other places, but they didn't have it. You can tell it's pure ammonia by shaking it up, and if it doesn't make any bubbles, which you can't tell with the camera, but if it doesn't make any bubbles, then that means it's pure. If it does make bubbles, it means it has like soap or some kind of additive in it, which you don't want to use. So what this is doing right now is I'm leaving it in there, and I keep the filter running all the time. It's not running right now because I turned off my plug for the air stone and whatnot, but I keep this running all the time, and I keep testing the water daily until the ammonia starts going down, and that's when you know, and the nitrates and the nitrites start showing up, and that's when you know that it's starting to get cycled. I'm still a little new to the whole cycling thing, so I've been getting some advice from a goldfish forum, so they helped me with this, but hopefully it'll be cycled soon, so the poor Ro can have her filter back, and, whoop, almost overflowing here. Alright, so yeah, that's way more than 50%, but I like to do that for now. Especially because today I didn't get to do it. I'm supposed to be doing it twice a day and I didn't get to do it. Alright, so I'm going to take this bucket of water and dump it in my bathtub. So I'll be right back. Alright, so now I got my giant ass 5-gallon bucket of water here. Just regular tap water. Which, this right here, I don't know if I'm failing at showing you or the camera this, but this is called Prime. It's water dechlorinator. It's the best in the market according to everybody that I've talked to and every one of the forums that I go on. I guess it works the best. So what you do is you just put a cap full of this is good for 50 gallons. Right now I'm putting in a half a cap, which is 2 times more than she needs. But we're doing that to keep the ammonia down because this will help kill the ammonia. So I'm putting in a little more than usual, but for him, like, I just put in like a quarter of the cap. There's like a couple lines in the cap that you can measure it out to, but you know. And this stuff smells really bad, but that's good. And I just kind of mix it up. Now, for this part, I just use this like 1-gallon Tupperware container because this is heavy as hell. So, fill it up until I can actually lift the 5-gallon bucket and fill it in. It's a pretty long process, but it gets the job done. And makes a mess, but hopefully my mom won't see this video. When you're pouring in new water, it's best to pour it on one of the decorations. Otherwise your gravel will just go flying everywhere and then you have to fix it. It's a pain in the butt. So I just kind of pour it on her little log. And that way the gravel stays put. missing out. Don't worry about scaring them with the water change. It's usually, she's never had a problem with it, neither have the others. They don't seem to mind. And I have a line here in the tank that I made out of vinyl. And I usually just fill it up today. It's a little less than normal, but it's good for now. And then usually I look into the tank, and if I see some stuff floating around, I'll take my little fish net and just kind of scoop it up. But I won't do that for the sake of the video. It takes a little while. So yeah. Now I'm going to add the salt to her tank. Right now I'm trying to get it to 0.3, but I have to slowly introduce the salt to her. So I do 1 tablespoon per gallon every 12 hours to get it to 0.3 slowly. And then every time I do a water change, I have to make sure I measure it out correctly. So yeah, that's all set for her. With the salt, you don't need to add that to betta tanks unless they're sick. This is only because she's ill. That's the only reason why I'm adding salt. Otherwise, you don't need to put salt in. Let's keep that in mind. So she looks good. So now I'll get to Parthenax's tank. Alright. I was an idiot and the card was full and I was talking while draining his tank. And then I realized that it wasn't even recording. So let's try this again. So I'm going to do Parthenax's tank. It's pretty much the same exact process as her. I'm just not going to drain it as much, just a little bit. So with him, I'm not using the gravel vacuum because of her problems and the other goldfish. They were having parasites and whatnot, and I don't want to risk giving them that crap to him. So no more gravel vacuum for him. He's going to get his own eventually. So right now I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way with a cup. So it takes a little bit, but I'm just going to do very slight water changes. Now when you're doing a water change for a betta fish, which should have a heater, make sure that the heater is off while you're doing the water change, because if the water goes below the minimum water level requirement line, or whatever the heck it's called, it'll explode, which you don't want. So, alright, that's about as much as I'm going to do. It's like about, I don't know, like a 25% water change. So I will go empty this out. Alright, so now I got my 5-gallon bucket of water, which originally I had 2 different buckets. I used the one that the filter's in for the dirty water and this one for the clean water. But because I needed that for the filter, I wasn't able to get another 5-gallon bucket. The one that I did try to use failed and leaked all over the place in the bathroom. So I'm not using that one anymore. But I do want, I make sure to rinse this one out really good after I'm done doing the goldfish tank, because again, I don't want their parasites infecting him. So I just make sure to rinse it out, because I do use that to put the dirty water in. So, alright, with him, all I'm going to do is lift it up and, oh, almost forgot the prime. Where is my prime? Here it is. So again, his is just a tiny little dose, like probably like a drop. Because it's such a little water change, but every little water change, you even the minimum amount, you want to add prime to, even if you're just topping it off. A lot of people recommend that you keep, like, you know, a milk jug or a 5-gallon bucket next to the tank with already, like, aged water with the prime in it. That way, if you need to top off the water for any reason, like, if it gets low from, what's the word, precipitation, I guess, evaporation, that's the word, then you can just put it right in, but now with him, I just pour it right on top of his little tree here. That way it doesn't ruin the gravel or anything. And with his water, you gotta make sure that it's warm when you're refilling it. So there we go. He's all set. Because betta fish are tropical fish and they like warm water, hence the heaters. Alright, so now he's all set. And again, I'm not taking out any of his decorations, none of his rocks, nothing like that. I didn't vacuum his gravel. He doesn't need it. He hasn't needed it ever so far. Because you don't want to do that. So that's basically all I have to do. And it doesn't matter what amount of water change you're doing. It's pretty much the same exact process. So I did 25%. If you're doing a 50%, same thing. You just drain the water, put it back in, put in some prime, and you're all set to go, and he's all set. Make sure you turn the heater and the filter and everything back on. His tank is filtered with a Marina I-25 internal filter. It's this tiny little guy. I'll show you what it looks like up close. an awesome filter. It says that it can get up to like 7 gallons or something like that, but I don't recommend it for anything more than this tank here, which is a 5.5. There it is in the back. It is soundless. You can't hear a thing. And it does a good job. His tank has been clear. For the first week that I had it, I wasn't sure how well it was going to do because his tank was still getting a little cloudy. But after about that week, it started doing its job. So it might take a little bit to adjust. But then I got his heater in the back. Now with those heaters, they're called Elite Submergible Mini Heaters, 25 watts. They are adjustable. There's a little knob on the top. I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't tell you what the temperature is, but you can kind of turn it up or down depending on how warm or cold the water is. And they will turn off when it's at the temperature that you want, depending on the dial. So, a little Parthenon here. He loves everybody. He's really friendly. Alduin could care less that I exist. He's still getting used to me though. This guy loves his bloodworms. He thinks he's getting fed. Alright, so that's about it with him. And then same goes for Alduin if I wanted to change his water, which it doesn't need to be changed. I just changed it recently. With him, his tank isn't filtered, so I change his about every other day, every 3 days, depending on how nasty it looks. I've only been feeding him 1 pellet to see if he actually eats, which he ignores, so some of the pellets are kind of collecting at the bottom. So I do try to clean that up as much as I can. And I have a little miniature siphon with the leftover hose that I had for my goldfish for the air stone, and I kind of use that to suck up all the crap that's fallen to the bottom. But he hasn't really produced much waste because he hasn't been eating. So his tank stays relatively clean for now, but you still want to change the water just to make sure the ammonia is not going up. But again, I don't clean his decorations, or I haven't yet. The only time you really want to clean them or scrub them is if they like have a parasite that you want to make sure is off. Or when you first get them, actually, you want to really boil the water and kind of put them in boiled water or rinse them under really hot water for a while. But otherwise, once they're in the tank, they're kind of set for a while. If they look really nasty, you can obviously take them out. I just kind of swish them around in a bucket of water or just kind of rinse them under the faucet. But other than that, they're kind of fine to stay. So yeah, that is my betta fish and goldfish tank cleaning process.